Welcome back to Fast Market on the TD Ameritrade Network. I'm Tom White, and I'm joined by my co-host, Kevin Hinks. But let's bring in our next guest, Kev. And that's going to be Landon Swan, the co-founder of Likefolio.com. Thanks for joining us, Landon.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing well. We're talking FedEx. We're talking the delivery business. It's a great topic going into the holiday, shopping season. I've got all my orders in. They're going to be delivered in the next few days. But this stock, Landon, has not been kind to the overall space just due to the fact that they've had some supply constraint issues. They've had wages. But what's the data telling you from Likefolio? Because it seems like everybody's getting everything delivered these days.
Yeah, you have to, right? I mean, everything kind of switched back in March of 2020 where you had to go online. And I think it sort of ingrained habits into people. It either introduced some people, some demographic that weren't familiar or didn't shop a lot online, and now that's being a big part of their shopping experience. And then other people who were already shopping online a lot kind of went all in. I mean, it's extremely convenient, and everyone's demands are kind of going up. Everybody wants it now. And with all the supply chain stuff and labor shortage, like you talked about, rising fuel costs, it's tough for these companies, FedEx, UPS, companies like this, to deliver what people want. In fact, when you look at just the concern over supply chain, it's incredible. It is up about 60% versus the peak in COVID during that April-May period. So it is very high. It's up, I think, 5x quarter over quarter. So this is this is top of mind for people. They're very aware of the problem. But what's crazy is their demands are higher than ever. I mean, they want same day, 1 day and 2 day shipping is kind of going away. That's no longer good enough for people. They want it right now. And people are complaining a lot on social media about the delays. So it's a consumer that is highly demanding and not very understanding of the problems that these companies are facing, FedEx and UPS. So when we look at for example, the happiness of the two companies, UPS is around 59%, where FedEx is down around 40%. 40% is very, very low. I mean, that's like Spirit Airlines low. It's like you don't get a lot of companies that low. UPS is UPS much stronger. And it's interesting to see the contrast between these two because, generally speaking, these names are synonymous for most people. But we're actually seeing quite a difference in not only the happiness, but also the demand. FedEx demand had been falling quite a bit over the last year. And, their stock has struggled over the last year. I think it's down about 13% year over year, off 25% from their highs. But just recently, their demand actually started ramping up. So we're actually seeing some positive signals out of FedEx on the demand side. Still a little concern on the happiness side at 40%. Again, very, very bad. So I think it's going to come down to who's able to keep the customer happy and who's able to, find employees to get the packages out there. This is a very tough time for these companies, and of course, this time of year is extremely important for many, many people to get those packages. Tom, I know you said you got some coming. I hope they come on time because we're getting down to the deadline. This is when you got to get those packages in.
They better be.
That's right. So,
Landon,
we're seeing. Go ahead, Kevin.
Go ahead. Sorry. I understand the unhappiness issue because people in general, as a whole, are unhappy and whiners, right? I get that, especially on social media. And the fact that I personally, I don't understand if you order something in 1 day and it comes in 2, I don't understand how that's a major problem, frankly, for me, because I don't really remember if I have 1 day or 2 day or when that happens. I don't have the attention span to know what that is. But if it comes by Christmas or not by Christmas, that is the big differentiator for me. Now, that being said, FedEx has some other problems. When I was reading about this, in 2019, Amazon delivered 58% of their own goods. In 2020, 66% of their own goods. That number only keeps going up. So even though FedEx has a ton of business outside of Amazon, number one, Amazon's soon going to be their own delivery system. Number two, you've got what you talked about, supply chain issues and labor availability based on productivity and cost of labor, right? You've also got coming to an airport near you lately, higher fuel costs. So this company has a lot of issues going forward. That said, there's a FedEx truck in my cul-de-sac, what seems like all day. They should set up a booth at the edge of my cul-de-sac just for FedEx. So help me here. Are they doing good enough? Is this 40% still good enough to be profitable? Or is this company losing its grip on this industry?
Well, so if you would have asked me 3 or 4 months ago, I would say FedEx is beginning to lose its grip, especially with the happiness where it is. 40% is extremely low. But we've seen this ramp up in demand over the last quarter that's actually very bullish for FedEx. Now, you got to kind of weigh that against happiness because, people, a lot of times it's not the consumer that chooses which carrier they use because you're buying from a website and whatever they use. But we'll start to make, if you anger people enough, you may start to, shop somewhere else if they use UPS instead of FedEx. This is, we're going back real quick to the delivery delays. Look at the change in people talking about delivery delays quarter over quarter, plus 46%. People are complaining a lot. It's incredible. And they want that same day delivery. I mean, these are the two things. It's very high demand. And I agree with you completely. I don't know if I'm supposed to get it in 2 days or 3 or whatever, but if you order on December 22nd, you're going to know if you need to get it in 1 day or 2.
Yes, that's different. You're right.
That's right. And that's the consumer's fault. But, that's not how people see it. They blame the carrier. If they promise 1 day and they get it in 2 or 3 and it messes their plans up, they're going to blame the carrier. But back to the outlook question. Again, three months ago, I would have said that maybe a little bit bearish on FedEx, getting a little worried, especially with the happiness. But now that we're actually seeing a ramp up in demand that UPS isn't seeing. So this is, between the two, we're starting to see FedEx kind of pull up a little bit, and it's actually influenced the earnings score. So FedEx has an earnings score of plus 24, UPS -7. So -7, that's basically neutral. FedEx at plus 24, it's just barely bullish. And the fact that the stock is off so much, especially when you compare it to how UPS has done, FedEx is 25% off the highs, UPS is 6% off the highs. So I think that expectations are lower. Everyone knows about the potential problems with supply chain issues, labor shortages, fuel costs. There's a lot going against this company, but they've got demand working for them, which is great. And of course, Amazon's the other one. Everyone knows which direction that goes. This sort of reminds me of the Nike Foot Locker thing. I mean, you can't rely on this one customer forever. They're moving away from you. So you got to build up your own base. And they've done a good job of that. So right now, I would say that we're ever so slightly leaning bullish. And if I had to pick between the two, it's definitely FedEx over UPS in the short term. The happiness, though, pulls me back over to UPS in the long term.
Yeah, and with the stock down from 320 down under to 242, basically, that gives you a little bit, but did have a bad earnings call last time. But just kind of getting back to that, the supply chain disruptions, Landon. According to your data, are you guys seeing anything more positive? Is this the apex of the problems? Because we keep talking about temporary supply chain issues that are going to eventually wash away, right? But are you seeing that apexing, or do you see that continuing through the holidays?
Well, as far as people's concerns, it hasn't peaked yet. I mean, it's still on the rise. And, we've heard a lot about things that are transitory and maybe not last forever, but there seem to be sticking around. If inflation, supply chain. So, I'm saying that it takes a while, at least from what I've read, it takes a while to get these supply chain issues mitigated and to work through the system. It's very difficult. And you throw a disruption like we had back in March of last year, that has ripple effects. It's like if you're driving down the highway and, you hit the brakes. If someone hits the brakes, then there's a line behind you that has brakes hitting for a mile or two. I mean, this is a very long problem that has to work itself out. And as far as fears are concerned, we have not apexed. They're still rising.
Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more panic here over the next week and a half, Landon, because people might not get those packages. We'll see. But on that note about Amazon taking over a little bit, our neighborhoods in Chicago, I mean, literally you'll see 5 Amazon trucks for every UPS or FedEx one. So maybe that's just a location kind of issue here. But great stuff as always, Landon. Have a great day.
Thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, that's Landon Swan, the co-founder of Lightfolio.com.